Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, I'm Sophie and well, this is my channel. Hi. Now, if you're thinking of taking a gap year, maybe before university after having finished college or sixth form, or maybe even you've just finished university and are considering taking a gap year before doing a master's, but you're not too sure, well, this is the video for you. Now, I've organised this video into different sections so that you can just skip to the parts which you think will be most useful for you, and you don't have to listen to me rambling on for however long this video ends up being. Section 1 is reasons to take a gap year, just skip to that time there. Section 2 is my personal experience taking not one but 2 gap years, and section 3 is the pros and cons of taking a gap year. So the first one is probably a bit of an obvious one, but that is you're not too sure exactly what it is you want to study. Now, I'm not too sure about everywhere in the world. I know in some countries it's expensive to go to uni, and in others it's a lot cheaper, but in the UK it's very expensive. It's £9,000 a year, and yes, you can get a loan, but then you have to pay it back later. And do you really want to spend your first year at university studying something that you thought you want to study, just to realise that, well, you don't actually want to study it at all, and then you have to go to a different university or apply again to just study a different course, and then you've basically just paid for an extra year of university that you didn't need to do, and you have to pay that money back later on in life. So yeah. Reason number 2 is to save up money. Now, I know a lot of people seem to think taking a gap year is all about travelling, and whilst that's great, for other people it may just be about saving up some money and getting a job. Because I don't know about everywhere in the world, but in the UK, like I said previously, it is pretty expensive to go to uni, so getting a job in your gap year may be a good idea for you to save up some money before going to uni to help you out a bit. Another great thing about choosing to work in your gap year and save up some money is that you're going to be gaining work experience, and that may be another reason that actually you decide to take a gap year, is just to gain some work experience so that when you leave university, you've got some work experience on your CV, or maybe just so that when you go to university, you find it easier to get a part-time job because you've already got some work experience. And also, just getting a job in your gap year is great just because, well, depending on where you work, of course, you may be able to get transferred. Say if it's McDonald's, there's McDonald's restaurants everywhere, so you may be able to get transferred to a different McDonald's restaurant where you're studying, so it's a win-win. Now, another reason to take a gap year is to travel. Now, I probably didn't need to say that one, it is a pretty obvious reason, but a lot of people do say that if they didn't travel before going to uni, they probably never really would have, well, never would have travelled long term, maybe backpacking, etc. Just because many people, when they graduate from uni, go straight into grad jobs, and when you go into grad jobs and you start the 9-to-5 life, you only get a certain amount of days holiday per year, and yeah, you don't get the time to necessarily go away for a whole month travelling around somewhere, so yeah. Now, the last reason to take a gap year that I can think of right now is to learn a language. Now, I bet that's one that not many of you thought of. I don't know, let me know in the comment sections down below, but it is one that I definitely think you should consider, because learning a language is a very useful skill to have. Now, there's many ways which you could do this. One of them, and probably the most well-known one, is to go on a language holiday and go take language classes in the country where the language that you want to learn is spoken, but this can be quite expensive. If you like working with kids, another good option could be to find a job as an au pair, because I'm pretty sure that, well, definitely in most countries anyway, it was definitely the case for me au pairing in Germany, but I'm pretty sure most families have to give you a small amount of money towards a language course anyway when you're an au pair, on top of the money they give you anyway for working for them, and then also you get free accommodation, so that's an option. Also, if you do decide to learn a language on your gap year, you can continue learning the language after your gap year at university, because many universities, I know many universities in the UK anyway, offer evening classes in languages for free, so you can continue learning the language, and then when you leave university, you'll stick out from the crowd because you'll be able to speak a language, well, at least in the UK you'll stick out from the crowd anyway. And there was something else I wanted to say, but I can't remember right now. It's gonna bug me. Oh, I remembered what I wanted to say. Obviously, if you're thinking of studying a language at university anyway as a degree, then this option is a great option for you. That's what I wanted to say. I have hair in my face. Section 2, which is my experience taking not one but 2 gap years, why I took them, and well, were they worth it? So my story is that I didn't originally decide that I wanted to take a gap year, yet I ended up taking 2. So whilst I was at college studying towards my A-levels, I applied for university. I got 5 out of 5 conditional offers, which meant I had to meet the grades to get into the uni, but I had the offers. Now, it wasn't actually until after I confirmed my firm choice and my insurance choice that I decided actually I wanted to take a gap year. So anyway, the reason that I decided to take a gap year I originally decided to take 1, not 2, was just because, well, I realised that I was quite happy where I was at the time. I was happy in my hometown at the time, and I was happy with the part-time job I had. I had friends. I was probably the happiest in my last year of college than I'd ever had been before at that point. And I was thinking about how I was going to afford university, and I was like, I'm not too sure. Maybe I should take a gap year and work for a bit. And the more I thought about it, the more I realised I'd only really applied to go to university because it seemed like the right thing to do, because it's what everybody else was doing, and at college they were telling us to either apply for university or to do an apprenticeship, and when I was looking into apprenticeships there was nothing that stuck out as something that I wanted to do, so I just looked at universities, and then I was like, actually maybe I should take some time out, realise what I actually want to do, and work for a bit. So that is when I wrote to my firm choice and insurance choice universities, because obviously I'd already confirmed those, and basically explained to them what I wanted to do, that I wanted to work for a bit, that I wanted to save up some money and gain some experience that I thought would be transferable to my years at uni. So yeah, that is what I did. Both of the universities said that I could start studying there a year later, so long as, of course, I met the conditional grades. So yeah, anyway, I asked at the current job I was in, working at Domino's, if I could basically get a promotion, because I knew they needed more shift managers. I knew they were always looking for shift runners, so I just basically asked, and in September I got trained up as a shift runner. So I'm actually getting a bit ahead of myself there, talking about the fact that I started management training that September, because, well, before that came the dreaded results day. So anyway, I opened up my little envelope and looked at my results and realised that I didn't get the grades I needed to go to either of the university. It's not even my insurance choice. So then I was like, oh damn, what do I do? Because I heard that, you know, you don't get into university, you go through clearing, but clearing's for that year. And because I was planning on taking a gap year, I hadn't even applied for student finance, and I heard that if you didn't apply for student finance in time, it doesn't come in time. And I was like, I can't go to university without student finance coming in time. And I've already asked about a job. I'm already meant to be starting a job. So yeah, I was like, what do I do? So anyway, I decided I wanted to speak to one of my teachers about it. So I looked around. I couldn't find my German teacher. That's who I originally looked for, but I did find my drama teacher, so I spoke to my drama teacher. So she basically explained that if you apply for university after taking 2 gap years, you're more likely to get in with lower grades because they see you as having more life experience. Obviously it depends on what you do on those gap years, how you spend them. Now, I didn't actually really believe her that that was true, but I also didn't want to resit another year at college or go through clearing that year, as, you know, I did want to take a year out afterwards. So anyway, I just continued working at Domino's, started the management training in September, realised I hated it, so went and volunteered in Peru teaching English and took some Spanish classes whilst I was out there. Realised how much I'd missed being in a language classroom and learning languages, and I was like, yeah, I really do want to go to university and learn another language. So I was like, well, maybe what my drama teacher said is true, so I'll apply for universities, but I won't get disheartened if I don't get into any of them. But before applying for university, I thought about the fact that I hadn't studied any German for a while, and I knew that I was going to have to take German from advanced at university, and I didn't really want to fail my year. I was scared that I would fail the year because of having a 2-year gap. So I decided to find some work in Germany. So I found a job as an au pair in Germany, but whilst I was searching for work as an au pair in Germany, I worked in a travel money bureau in Debenhams. So yeah. So anyway, that is why I took 2 gap years and what I ended up doing on those 2 gap years. Were they worth it? Yeah, kind of. When I say kind of, it's just because sometimes I look back at my 2 gap years and I think, like, I have had some of the best moments of my life in those 2 gap years. But working at Domino's as a shift manager, that wasn't the best. I was often going without breaks and sleep deprived, and just, yeah, managers at Domino's aren't treated that well. When I was working there part-time, it was great, but as a manager, no, wasn't great. Yeah, I once did a double shift without even taking a single break. That's illegal, but... And finally, you've made it to section 3. Or maybe you just skipped to section 3 actually, as I did kind of give you that option. But that's okay if you did. This is section 3. This is where I'm going to talk about the pros and the cons of taking a gap year. Now, I've decided to talk about the cons first, because let's get all of that negativity out of the way and then focus on the pros, the positives. But yeah, anyway, The cons. So the first con is probably the biggest one, and that is, well, if you apply to take a gap year, obviously then you have to meet all of the grades that are on your conditional offer, whereas if you apply to go to university straight from college and you don't get the grades, yeah, you still, well, technically you still have to meet the grades that are on your conditional offer, but sometimes if universities have extra places, they'll let you in with slightly lower grades anyway, because otherwise those places would just be going out to people on clearing, and well, some of them probably are going out to people on clearing, whereas if you're applying for the following year, obviously the universities don't know how many places they're going to have left over yet. They're going to hope that they don't have any left over. So yeah, they just won't accept you if you don't get the grades. At least as far as I'm aware, that's how it goes anyway. Another con is seeing all of your friends going away and starting university. Obviously these days with Snapchat and Instagram, you're going to see all your friends, you know, uploading stories in Freshers Week, and they're looking like they're having the best time of their life. And well, if you're staying at home working in your gap year, you're going to think, oh, they're having like a better time at me. You know, you might just be sitting in your dressing gown in your living room doing nothing on a Friday night whilst they're there enjoying Freshers Week. The next con is obviously that you will be graduating a year later, so you will be graduating a year later than most of your friends, or maybe even 2 years if the course you apply for is a 4-year course and not a 3-year course. But at the end of the day, that shouldn't really matter. Yeah, because they are graduating before you, they might get a job before you, but they also might not. They might go on to take a master's and then end up graduating the same time as you anyway, and it shouldn't really matter. You will do things at your own time and pace and figure stuff out for yourself. We're all different and we just need to do things at our own time and pace. Another con is seeing all of your friends going away and starting university. Obviously these days with Snapchat and Instagram, you're going to see all your friends, you know, uploading stories in Freshers Week, and they're looking like they're having the best time of their life. And well, if you're staying at home working in your gap year, you're going to think, oh, they're having like a better time at me. You know, you might just be sitting in your dressing gown in your living room doing nothing on a Friday night whilst they're there enjoying Freshers Week. But again, that shouldn't matter, because obviously you're going to have that experience a year later, and you're going to have loads of experiences on your gap year no matter what you do. You know, it doesn't matter if you go travelling or if you do stay at home and like work at, I don't know, Sainsbury's. You'll make friends at Sainsbury's, and then you can go out to your local nightclub with people from Sainsbury's. Or if you don't like clubbing, go out and have a nice meal, or to the cinema with your new friends from Sainsbury's. I don't know. And also, of course, you can visit your friends at university. I visited my friends at university during both my first and my second gap year. And well, during my first gap year, when I visited my friends at university, it was actually the first time that I travelled anywhere by myself, and I only travelled across the country by myself. And yeah, that definitely prepared me a lot for, well, getting a plane all the way to Peru, and staying in Peru for like almost 2 months, a few months later. So those were all of the cons. As you can probably tell, they're not all that bad really, most of them anyway. So yeah, I think the pros will probably overweigh the cons, but obviously that's for you to decide. But yeah, now on to the pros. The next pro is that you will most probably learn some useful skills which you can transfer to your life at university. For example, budgeting skills, communication skills even, cooking skills. I definitely learned some cooking skills whilst working as an au pair. I didn't know how to fry an egg. No, I know that sounds really pathetic, but but I didn't know how to fry an egg until my host mum showed me how to fry an egg. She also taught me how to make guacamole and her homemade salsa, and she was Mexican, so like I feel like I learnt from a pro how to make guacamole and salsa, and it was good guacamole and salsa. The next pro is meeting new people. Now, you're going to meet loads of new people at university, but you don't just meet new people at university, you meet new people in your gap year as well, especially if you go backpacking or just do any type of traveling at all really, you're going to meet people. But even if you stay at home and just work, you're going to meet people through your job. Even if you continue working the same job as you were working part-time at college or sixth form, new people are going to join the job, so you're going to make new friends still. The next pro is a bit of a cliche, but you're probably going to grow as a person. You're going to feel more confident, you're going to have all these new life skills, you're going to feel like you're more of an adult, and you probably would have adulted for a whole year, and we like adulting. Adulting makes us feel good about ourselves. And the last pro will probably depend on what exactly you decide to do in your gap year, but that is that you will probably feel more prepared to move away from home. For example, if you go traveling, even if it's just for a month by yourself, or not even by yourself, just with a couple of other friends, but you're not with your parents or family, even if it's just a 2-week trip, you know, you might feel more prepared, more like you can do things, and a bit more prepared and used to being away from home. So yeah. So that's it for this video. I hope that you found it useful. If you do have any questions about taking a gap year, leave them in the comment section down below. If I get enough questions, I may even make a separate video just answering your questions. But if not, I'll just reply to them in the comment section down below. So yeah, hit that big red subscribe button down below to see more videos from me. Do give this video a thumbs up, a big thumbs up, to let me know if you enjoyed it. Follow me on Instagram and all that lovely stuff, and I'll see you guys all in the next video. Bye!